So with race day execution, maybe we don't give this as much thought and attention as we could. My experience has been all the preparation that we do prior to a race, which might be months, could be years, depending on what we're training for, and how we execute the day of the race have equal value to your performance. Pretty bold statement. I mean, all those months of training and how I decide to execute during the race have equal value. How can that be? Well, if you stop and think about it, if I prepare really well, but the race I don't execute well, an example would be that I start off too fast, and I'm going to talk about what that does and how that's harmful, that it really can really sabotage your entire performance. So all that preparation is not fully utilized, and you could have done a lot less preparation to get the exact same result that you received by not executing properly. So that's an example. But what about if I execute just perfectly, but I didn't prepare? Well, then of course that's not going to be as good as the combination of the two. So they have equal value, and we need to look at them in that way. So in terms of race execution, science shows, my experience shows also, that the best way to run a race is even pacing or slightly negative splits. What does that mean? A negative split means take the race that you're going to run, divide it in half, and is your second half pace faster than your first half pace? If the answer is yes, that's a negative split. Slightly negative split or even pacing produces the best result. At an everyday runner level and at the professional level, it's all the same. And you can look at all the data, the world records in the marathon, the world records in the half marathon. If you look at all their splits, they were all even or negative, every single one of them. So it is a true fact that it works best to run even pacing. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's say I'm going to run the 10K, and I think I can run 8 minutes a mile. Well, if you could run 8 minutes a mile for 6 miles in a row, don't you think the first mile, 8 minutes a mile, is going to feel pretty easy? But what a lot of us do is say, wow, this feels too easy. I'm going to go a little faster because I really want to do well today, so I'm going too slow. Well, you're not going too slow. If you're running your even pacing, you're actually going at the perfect pace. And here's the interesting things that happen. Let's just say that you could perfectly execute and run 8 minutes a mile for every mile for 6 miles, and then you hit your goal. Well, we all know what happens. The first mile feels almost like you're jogging, but shouldn't it? Because if you're going to average 6 of them in a row, shouldn't it feel easy? Second mile, still not that hard, but harder than the first one. The third mile, you know what? I'm starting to get a little bit tired now. Wow, it's the same pace, but yet I'm tired. Fourth mile, more tired. Fifth mile, oh my gosh, I feel like almost exhausted. And then we finished the last mile, and we did it. We hit our goal. So the opposite of that would be to start off too fast, and we run, even 15 seconds a mile versus what your average pace for your fitness level is. Just going 15 seconds a mile too fast can be devastating to your result, just that much. 30 seconds too fast, of course, that much more devastating to your result. So it's better to even go out slightly slower. I'll tell you a quick story. A friend of mine who was a collegiate runner, and then as an older runner wanted to qualify for Boston. And he needs to run 3:30, 3 hours and 30 minutes for Boston Marathon, which happens to be 8 minutes a mile. And so I worked with him, put a training program together. But I said, okay, Peter, if we're going to do this together, you need to follow what I say, even though you may not agree. And I had him do a tremendous amount of aerobic training and not much speed training. And then on the race day, you have to follow what I tell you to do, or I'm not going to coach you because I know it won't work out for you. He goes, okay, I'll do it. All right, so the first mile, I need you to run the first mile of the marathon in 8:30, even though your pace for the entire 26 miles is 8 minutes a mile. And if you go under 8:20, you promise me you'll drop out of the race. After 1 mile, you have to drop out. I wanted the stakes to be high for him, that not to go out too fast. Because here's the secret to that. If you got 30 seconds slower than your average for the entire marathon, you will make that up so easily later on But what it does, it turns a 26-mile race into a 25-mile race because the first mile is almost non-existent, because that would be so easy to do relative to your fitness level. So there's tremendous benefit of doing that. And to continue on with the story, in that particular race, there were people running with banners that had the splits, the finishing time up on the banner. So you would run like a 3-hour banner or a 3:15 or a 3:30. He could see the 3:30 banner in the race up ahead at about 22 miles, and he wasn't there yet. So he knew that because he started out slow, and by the way, he did, he followed the instructions, that the whole time he was a little bit behind, but he stayed patient. And then with 3 miles to go, he caught up to the 3-hour and 30-minute person running perfect pace for that. And then he ran his last 3 miles in 7 minutes a mile. 7 minutes a mile, a whole minute less per mile, the last 3 miles. And he ended up running 3 hours and 27 minutes and then qualified to Boston. And he had a great time. When you run the race that way and you finish faster than when you start, it just feels good. And you have the ability to do that because you held back in the beginning.
Great. I'm sold. And anything else, putting on your number the night before, or drinking and eating, any other preparation for race day?
Yeah, I think some of the other things to think about. So the number one thing for preparation for race day and race day execution is your pacing, by far number one. Other things, of course, that are helpful in the week up ahead coming to the race, if it's one of your big races for the year, you want to do the tapering that we talked about. The other thing is you want to reduce your stress that week if you can. Don't travel that week if you can. Get as much sleep, get more sleep maybe than normal if you can. Take naps during the day if that's possible. Drink a lot of water during the course of the week so you're fully hydrated. Depending on the length of your race, you would take on more carbohydrates that week if you're going to run a half marathon or a marathon. Anything that goes over an hour and a half in terms of total running time, you benefit from carbo loading. Races that take less than that, not so much. And then the day of, a lot of people, it depends if you're a morning person or not, but most people do best if they're awake at least 3 hours before the start of the race. So if the race begins at 9, maybe it's not common for you to be up at 6, but I would recommend doing that. Be up 3 hours before the race. Depending on your digestive tract and what your stomach can take, I would eat very little. Science shows that a little bit of caffeine is actually beneficial. So maybe a cup of tea or a cup of coffee would not hurt you at all. As a matter of fact, probably help you. And then just a little something on your stomach, unless your stomach's really sensitive, even like a piece of toast or a banana, depending on what it is that your system can take, but not much more than that. And then if it's a really hot day, the thing to do is to drink water, of course. But if you're going for a longer race, half marathon or marathon, I don't want to have to stop to go to the bathroom. So that's an issue for me. I just don't want to do that. So what I've learned, if it's really a hot day and I'm going to be going a half marathon or marathon, just before the race, have 16 ounces of water, preferably cold, chilled water, if you can handle chilled water, and guzzle it all just before the race. Get it right in your stomach, a minute or so to go, and you run. Because you did it right before you started running, the whole process of that water being absorbed in your system is changed, and you don't have to go to the bathroom the whole time. So what I would try to do is try this in practice first and see if it works for you. But that's a little tip for me, and it's always helped me do better on a hot day. I don't love running in the heat. I don't know for any people that do. It turns out I'm actually better at it than most, even though I don't like it. And I think drinking the water like that at the very beginning makes a big difference for a hot day.
Those are some great tips. Thanks so much, Marty. This has been the Running with the Mind 10K training program with Marty Kibiloski, and good luck. We hope you have fun and do your best and help others and get a great time as well. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.